such as a yummy plate of food, or a lively storyteller, okay, or a beautiful praise dance at church on stage, okay, and you just had to run home and tell somebody about it, right? You just had to go home and say, I just saw the most amazing, most beautiful thing today. I tasted the most beautiful dish today. You guys have had that experience? Yeah. How exciting was that? Very exciting. Okay, so that's called being a witness. Everybody repeat after me, witness.
Witness.
All right. So our key word today is witness. To witness means to watch carefully, right? You're watching carefully. It means to tell others about what you saw, what you observed, and to remember those things so that you can continue to recount the details to other people, right? So today we're going to talk about 3 important witnesses. One from the Bible, who many of us should know, and I'm also going to tell you about 2 important figures from women's history who are also witnesses, and I'm going to share with you a little bit my own work as a witness too, okay? So. Thank you. So, let's first talk about Miriam, the first witness. One of our Bible stories comes from the book of Exodus, which is the story of how a whole group of people, the Israelites, were set free from slavery in Egypt. But before all of that, there was a little girl watching by a river. The book of Exodus chapter 2 verse 4 reads, his sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. That sister was Miriam. Her baby brother, Moses, had been placed in a basket on the Nile River to protect him from Pharaoh's soldiers. And what did Miriam do? She watched, she waited, and she witnessed. When Pharaoh's daughter found baby Moses and felt sorry for him, Miriam didn't run away. She stepped forward bravely. The book of Exodus chapter 2 verse 7 reads, then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you? Because Miriam was watching and paying attention. She was ready to act. She got her own mother to care for Moses. One little girl, witnessing carefully, helped save the man who would one day lead their people to freedom. So you see some pictures here of Miriam watching by the river. Right, you see her putting baby Moses in the basket to go down the Nile River there. Right. Next we have Miriam the leader, the artist, when she was all grown up. So Miriam doesn't disappear from the Bible, right? She grows up alongside her brothers Moses and Aaron, and when the Israelites finally escaped from Egypt and crossed the Red Sea to freedom, Miriam leads a big festivity, right? A big celebration. So the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verses 20 through 21 tells us, then Miriam the prophet, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women followed her with tambourines and dancing. What is this here? A drum, right? So tambourines and drums were used to lead the singing and dancing with Miriam. And she sang to them. Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. So did you catch that? The Bible called her a prophet. Not just Moses' sister, right? Not just a helper, but a prophet. Someone who speaks an important truth to her whole community. And how does she do it? Through music, through dance, through singing, and all the women followed her with their tambourines and drums in hand, moving and singing together. That celebration wasn't just a party, right? It was a way of saying, we remember what happened to us. We will never forget. We will carry the story forward. And just in case anyone ever tries to leave Miriam out of the story, we will never forget, right? The Bible is very clear about her place. It reads, I brought you up out of Egypt and redeemed you from the land of slavery. I sent Moses to lead you, also Aaron and Miriam. So God names her among 3 leaders. One of them was a woman, and we should celebrate her for Women's History Month. Okay, now we have a witness of the 20th century, right? Zora Neale Hurston. And now I want to talk about a woman named Zora Neale Hurston who lived about 100 years ago in a small town in Florida called Eatonville, one of the first all-black towns in America. The town is really close to the University of Florida, where I earned my doctorate degree and where I met the other Dr. Wingfield, right? You all know your Dr. Wingfield who works here at WCA? That's where we became friends. So Zora grew up listening to the men and women who would sit on the porch of the General Town store. They would tell stories, they would crack funny jokes, they would spin tall tales and stories. Most people would just walk right past them, paying them no attention, right? But she would sit there, she would listen, she would pay attention to their stories, so she witnessed. When she grew up, she became a cultural anthropologist, someone who studies the stories and traditions and cultures of different communities. And when she went back to those porches, she had her notebook in her hand, ready to take notes, ready to witness. She would write down all of the stories they told, the songs they sang, their funny sayings and jokes. She wrote books to remember the voices of her community, the way Miriam remembered the songs of her people. Zora wrote a very famous novel called Their Eyes Were Watching God, the story of a woman named Janie who goes on a journey to find her voice and find peace in life. It is a story about a woman who learns that her own experience is worth witnessing and worth telling about. Okay? So you see the book cover on the screen there, and I have my own copy here. Yeah? You all want to pass it around? Can we pass around some props? Okay. So Zora Neale Hurston believed that the songs, stories, and dances of Black communities in the South were very important sources of knowledge and education. And someone needed to write down those stories before they were lost and disappeared and forgotten. So she was a witness, just like Miriam. And lastly, we have Catherine Dunham, a witness who danced. Now, you know how I said Miriam led the women in dance with her drums and tambourines? Yes? I'm going to pass around my drum so you all can take a look at it, okay? Let's start with my baby Robbie here. Pass that around? Okay. So Catherine Dunham was a dancer, also a cultural anthropologist, you guessed it, just like me and Zora. And she traveled to Caribbean islands, to places like Haiti and Jamaica, and she watched and participated in the dances of those communities. She didn't just observe and watch from a distance. She would actually go out and dance with her whole body. She learned the dances of the people and she performed it with them. The way Miriam learned her people's stories through movement and carried it on as she led the people to freedom. She brought those dances to the stage and performances that amazed audiences who had never seen anything like it. But she was always clear, this isn't just a party, this isn't just entertainment, this is how communities keep their cultures alive. The drum, the movement, the dancing, these were all acts of remembering and witnessing, right? She also started schools so young people like you all could learn to dance and learn about the cultures where the dances came from. She believed, like Miriam, that when a community dances together, they are saying, we remember, we are still here, and we're moving forward. So what do I do? Does anybody remember what Tudor Moss said? I see a couple hands here. What do I do? Am I a dancer? Am I a teacher? Do I teach little kids like kindergartners? No. What kind of kids do I teach? Big kids. The big kids that go to college, right? Who's that on the screen there? Is that me? So what do? I am a professor of cultural anthropology. That means I teach college students. I teach the big kids. That means I study communities, I study their stories, their traditions, traditions, their languages, their cultural ways of life. And I was inspired by women like Zora Neale Hurston and Catherine Dunham, who showed me that this work, the work of witnessing, through listening, watching, writing things down, telling stories, remembering what matters, is one of the most important things a person can do. Think about it this way. Every community has a story. Every family has songs and recipes and jokes and ways of doing things that are completely their own. And the anthropologist says that matters, and I'm going to be a witness to it myself. Just like Miriam that stood by the river and watched, just like she led women in song and dance, just like Zora sat on those porches and wrote, just like people like Catherine Dunham learned dances. This is a book about Catherine Dunham. She learned dances from people all over the world. You all can be a witness too, right? So before I go, I want to leave you with something to think about. You don't have to be a professor like me to be a witness, do you? No. You just have to pay attention and watch, listen. Pay attention to your grandmother's stories. Pay attention to the songs that your family sings. Pay attention to the traditions and dances in your church and your community. Those things are sacred forms of knowledge. They are worth remembering. They are worth retelling. And remember what God said in the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 4. He named Miriam. He remembered her. The communities that Zora and Catherine served remembered them too. And the people you witness for, your grandmothers, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, mom and dad, they'll remember too. So watch carefully, listen deeply, and tell the story. That's what it means to be a witness. Thank you.
For Women's History Month. A lot of you have history in your families, just like Dr. Wingfield. Just amazing. And we just need to hear the stories so that you too can tell the stories to others about what women are doing in your families or in your past generations, whether it's your grandmother, your great-grandmothers, your aunties, godmothers, or whatever it is, or even your mothers. So we want to thank Dr. Wingfield again. Robbie, you want to come up and give Mommy a big old hug?